And I'm very happy to be here with coaches who have a passion for the game. I think most of us go into coaching because we were inspired by someone. I know when I was growing up in New Jersey, my brother was a high school coach, and I always looked up to him and really enjoyed watching how he got his kids to compete. And I was very lucky to play for two great high school coaches, my high school basketball coach, Paul Miller, and my football coach, Don Carpenter. I went on to college. I played football and basketball at Notre Dame, and I played for Ara Parseghian and for Digger Phelps. And I'll tell you, playing there and having a chance to be a part of that tradition was pretty special. And I still draw on those experiences to this day. I know, one of the traditions we have at Notre Dame is every year they invite the former football players to come back for the first game, and you form a tunnel for the team to run through. And I was lifting weights with my team. This is when I first went to De La Salle. And I was lifting weights with the kids, and I was teasing them. And one of my former players, Gus Argenal, who's a college coach now, I was telling Gus, I said, what's it feel like to be on a high school team where the best conditioned athlete is your coach? And he goes, oh, come on, you're an old man. And I'm lifting weights with him. I said, Gus, I could play football at Notre Dame in a week. I said, I just have to go throw a little bit and get my arm back, and I could play at Notre Dame. He goes, you're dreaming. Look at you. You're an old man. So I went to Notre Dame. And I was in the end zone, and I was talking to some of my former teammates. I was on a national championship team in ’73. And I was talking to some of my teammates. I said, do you think any of us could play here now? And they said, well, maybe the quarterbacks. Look how big these guys are. And so, we're sitting there lining up, and I remember this because the end zone, this is the goal line right here. And I was standing on the goal line, and one of my former coaches, who was an assistant AD there, came over. He says, Frank, stand off the line. I'm thinking, what is that about? This guy's still busting my chops 30 years later. And he goes, no, you got to stand behind the goal line. So I got off the goal line, and being from New Jersey and a little defiant, I went back and stood on the goal line again. So he came back, and I remember the captains came out in Michigan. They're huge. And Notre Dame, I'm thinking, these guys are enormous. It's so much different than when I played. And then he came over again. He goes, Frank, watch the line. I said, what is with this guy? So I moved again, put my feet here. And then as I'm watching the teams come out, they announced the Band of the Fighting Irish, the oldest marching band in America. So I'm sitting there talking to my brother, and all of a sudden I turned sideways, and I got hit by a tuba. And I flew about 10 feet, and I thought I separated my shoulder again, and I learned why you don't stand on the line at Notre Dame, because that band is pretty precise. And it also taught me that if I could get knocked over by a young woman carrying a tuba, I probably couldn't play at Notre Dame anymore. But I think things like that are good for your kids too, to build a relationship with them. I think as we sit here talking about coaching, I think one of the most important things you have to do is evaluate why you coach. Because I really believe that the success of any venture will be determined by the spirit in which you enter it. If you came in here to win and build up a resume, X's and O's, I don't know, I think you can be successful, but I don't know you'll truly get to the level that you want to get to as a minister to young people. My son coaches with me. He played at St. Mary's College, and he played for me at Northgate at public school when I taught at public school. And Frank said to me, Dad, how long are you going to do this? I said, well, you need to look for another job because I don't plan on going anywhere. And then he said, well, honestly, how long are you going to go? I said, I'm going to continue to coach until I think I know something. And I think that's really important. The great thing about this game is there's so many things to learn. I was here last night watching the speakers, and it kind of gets me going for the summer and gets you rejuvenated and ready to roll. And there's so many little things that we can coach in this game. But I think, you have to really look at this as an opportunity to mentor kids, and I think your success will follow. Lastly, in that area, you can't be a great teacher until you become a great learner. You'd be amazed how many times I go to clinics and I'll speak about something, and then afterward, coaches will come up and they want to debate you. And, sometimes I want to say to them, I've won 90% of my games, and you were like 7-24 yesterday, so maybe you should listen, or last year, maybe you should listen a little bit. But really, coaches are funny that way, that a lot of us, we really don't open up to learn more and to tap the brains of people around us, because there's something you can learn in this game all the time.